had a chat to him for quite a while. Normally when we're doing Dolphin stuff, Nathan Fiend hogs all the limelight. Kristian Woolf, a very good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Cos has got a hard-hitting question for you, mate, first up.
It's not that real hard. Well, we were talking to Tim Zoo a little earlier, and it just sort of sparked a little, memory that I had.
Particularly a little light bulb?
Can you confirm or deny, Wolfie, that you did some, what did you call it?
Boxing?
Some tent boxing back in the day that used to accompany some rodeos?
I thought we were talking about Tonga here this morning.
Just to confirm or deny, that's all
No,
we
you
need.
can't sidestep. It sounds like he has.
Yeah, well, that's a good sidestep. Just silence is golden. Well, let's go to Tonga. I mean, you've done some wonderful things in your coaching career, mate, but one that you certainly must be, sit really sort of nice with yourself is the fact that what you've been able to achieve with that Tongan side. I believe, anyhow, looking from afar, where the players have bought into it, and now there's a real actual mindset with this team that they can actually go to where it needs to go. 16 points to 12, I think it was the last time you played Australia, but they just want to play for that jersey, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and look, it's been a great journey with Tonga, and my involvement with Tonga is something I'm extremely proud of, and it's been over a long period of time, and I've been really lucky in that period that we've, guys, like Jason Tomalolo and Adam Fanua-Blake, Daniel Tupou, some of those guys have been there for just as long as I have. So, they've built a real culture there, and, they've made playing for Tonga just as important as playing for Australia or New Zealand, and that certainly wasn't the case years ago. And, as a result of what they've done, all the best players want to play for Tonga nowadays, and that's great to see.
So you're saying, Wolfie, the Fanua Blakes of the world, the Taumalolos, they're the ones, including yourself, have driven this culture that they want to wear the red.
Yeah, definitely, and it always comes from the players. They're the ones who've got to want to do it, and they're the ones who make a big sacrifice as well. And that sacrifice has changed a little bit. Things now compared to what playing for Tonga used to be 10 years ago. We've got a hell of a lot more resources. We've got a hell of a lot more finance and opportunities and things like that as well. But if you go back only as far as 2017, 2018, to play for Tonga, you didn't have those things physically in terms of resources, and you didn't really have any competition to commit to as well. So it was a big commitment, and it was a big sacrifice. And if those guys don't do that, then I don't think international football looks like it does at the moment either.
You make a great point there. You talk about big commitment, big sacrifice. What about the size of the team at the moment? I mean, you go through that forward pack. What's it like when the feedlot's on?
Well, that's always something we've got to keep a little bit of control of, obviously. But size isn't a problem for us, that's for sure. And we've got plenty of big men, and that's not just in the forward pack either. If you look at the outside backs, guys like Moses Suli, Daniel Tupou, they're big men. That's one of the advantages of Tonga, and we've obviously got to play a style that suits what we've got physically as well, and that's what we try to do.
Well, we spoke to Madge Maguire only moments ago. We obviously orchestrated that 30-0 victory over Australia last year with the Kiwis, and we asked him about what's the key to beating Australia, and he said, "Well, you got to start super fast." What's some of the priorities for yourself?
Look, I think he's right there. I think you do have to start well, and you look through the Australian side, and they've just got so much talent and so much depth and quality in every position. And you could argue about guys that could be in there or should be in there, but the fact is that when I look at that squad, there's 21 really elite players, and just about all of those, if not all, have played Origin this year as well. So they're very, very hard to beat, and you've got to be right on your game in so many ways. And I do think that a start's really important. If we can match them, physically and match them in every department in terms of how we start, then obviously you give yourself a chance straight away, and you can grow in confidence off the back of that.
Hey, without giving too much away, Moses and Dearden, a new combo for a start, and Moses has seen very little game time recently because of that injury. What do you make of them?
Yeah, look, well, what I make of them is they're both very good players, and they're both players that probably complement each other a little bit. If you look at Moses as an organiser and a kicker, and Tommy Dearden as a terrific runner of the footy. So, they're going to be very, very hard to defend against. There's no doubt there, and you make a good point. They are new. They're going to have to build some combinations really quickly, and Mitchell Moses hasn't played a lot of footy, so. I know that he's a very professional guy, and he's going to come into this really well prepared, and he wouldn't be there if he wasn't ready to go. That's for sure. So it's certainly not going to take away anything from the challenge. But you only get a couple of sessions together. We've trained 3 times this week, and we get a captain's run tomorrow, and Australia will be in the same boat. So who sort of gets those combinations together really quickly and gets a bit of an understanding of how each other are going to complement each other. And we're obviously backing what we've done and backing our guys there, and I'm sure they'll do the same.
Well, after the Tongan campaign, you obviously then changed focus to the Dolphins, if you haven't already, obviously. Just give the listeners a little insight. What sort of coach is Kristian Woolf going to be?
Look, I like teams that work really hard and work really hard for each other, and that's something that I'll certainly be preaching, and I think that's how we put importance on what we do is the effort that we're willing to put in for each other, and particularly the efforts that are around the bigger plays and become big plays if you add them all up. So that's sort of a focus that we'll have through the pre-season. We're going to be a team that's going to be lean and going to be fit and going to compete really hard for everything we get. So as I said, that's what I'll be preaching through the pre-season, and that's the sort of team that I like to be involved with.
Wolfie, what about young Cattell? You've got him as your halfback in red, in red in both forms. I mean, talk to us about how you develop him now.
Yeah, look, he's an exceptional young man. If I look at Isaiah as a young man first and foremost, he really impresses me the way he carries himself, the way he cares about his teammates, he cares about his footy. He's one of those guys that tends to be the last bloke off the field at training sessions because he wants to work on his extras and he wants to improve his game, and you can see that it means a lot to him, and he shows that in how he plays as well for his teammates. So he's a great young man to be involved with, and he's also obviously extremely talented. He's an elite skill level. He's got a really good sort of physical attributes to back that up, and it's easy to forget that he's 20-year-old. He carries himself with a real calmness and a real maturity on and off the field. And as I said, you can very easily forget that he's 20-year-old. So he's going to keep developing. He's got a mindset and a desire to get better as a player. And my job's obviously to keep sort of pushing him in the right direction and helping him get through that. And I know that there's going to be some failures along the way. That's how he's going to learn at different times, and he's had plenty of those. But he's also going to develop into a really elite player. I've got no doubt in that whatsoever. And my job's to help him do that.
Hey, with St Helens, you were winning titles for fun. I think it was a 76% win rate. What's a pass mark for you this year or this next season?
Look, I haven't really got a pass mark, I suppose. I want to see us improve as a team, and I mentioned some things that I want us to look like as a team before that. That we'll be working hard to do. So, there's not really a result-driven pass mark, I suppose. If we can see that improvement and see the team sort of heading in that direction, then I know that at some stage we're going to be putting ourselves in positions where we can be playing for big games. So, as I said, it's not a results-driven pass mark, but that's the sort of things that I want to see us developing into as a team.
Handled like a true coach there, Wolfie. That was well played. Hey,
you're making these questions too hard, Cos. Can you just simple them down a bit for me, mate?
You just mentioned Katoa, and correct me if I'm wrong, you gave him his first international cap before he played NRL. Is that correct?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. That was in 2022 at the World Cup, and we actually intended to play him. That was the first year back at the mid-season tests, if you remember, and the last lot of mid-season tests. And we picked him in the mid-season test against New Zealand, but I couldn't come back for that game. And the coaches, that I was talking to really regularly, just thought that he was a little bit young and a little bit sort of inexperienced when he came into camp. So he didn't end up playing, but when he walked into that, I remember when he walked into a motel room in London for the World Cup, and he looked young. He was still doing his his high school exams actually during the World Cup, which again shows how impressive he is as a young man. But he just showed us with every training session and with everything that he did leading up to the first game that he wanted to be in that team, and it meant a lot to him, and he was going to do whatever he could to get picked. And he sort of put me in a position where I built that much confidence in him that I couldn't leave him out. And he rewarded that with the way he played. He played extremely well, and I think his international footy has been great for his NRL footy as well. It's given him a confidence. He's in with guys like Jason and Adden, and I know they give him a lot of confidence because they're confident in him, and he's got to tell them what to do, and they want him to tell them what to do, and they tell him that as well. So that's really helped him evolve into an NRL player.
Good stuff, mate. Hey, we've run out of time. Could talk for ages. There's so much going on in your life at the moment, but we can't wait to see a sea of red at Suncorp on Friday night, and you're up. You're up against it, but boy, you're up for the challenge by the sound of it.
Yeah, no, look, we're definitely up for the challenge and really looking forward to it. So, look, thank you very much for having me.
Great stuff.
We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, Kristian Woolf there, the Tongan head coach, and of course the brand new Dolphins head coach. Got to get to a break. It's 8:43.